Welcome to Level Up with Winnie Sun.
Well, hello, friends. Welcome back and happy Tuesday. Are you having a good week? I know that a lot of people are thinking about uh, just coming back from the weekend, if you will, and what the week's going to be looking like. If you're joining us on the replay, a big hello to you as well. Thanks so much for tuning in, and a big hello to my friends at Modern Mom. Now, let's start with the market because actually, this is some great news. If you've been following the financial markets today and maybe looking at your own 401k or your Roth IRA and wondering maybe how you're going to meet those financial goals, you're probably going to like days like this because the Dow closed up 278 points, the Nasdaq also up 80 points, and the S&P up 35 points as well. U.S. stock markets overall did quite well today. And in fact, a lot of the strength actually came from some of the travel names, even though we're still being, worried about COVID and certainly the Delta variant. But on the financial markets, things are looking pretty good, at least today, right? We'll take the day. But there have been a lot of questions coming in from many of you. And of course, I've been reading a lot in the financial news, and a lot of my clients have been asking me different questions. I thought I would tackle some of these as well, because let's just talk. I mean, it's the first week of August. A lot of us are looking at indications of how well the market's going to perform this week. And of course, we're looking at job market numbers. Again, we'll have the job market number for you certainly on Thursday. But overall, we're looking at pretty positive numbers in terms of earnings. We're seeing a lot of companies report positive earnings. Some even have been outperforming, some meeting expectations. But overall, it looks like for some companies out there, the economy is actually doing just fine. Now, in other matters, one thing that we've also been seeing is that, the pandemic has brought in a lot of stimulus protection, right? Pandemic protection for Americans. But one thing that continues to kind of hang over is the eviction risk. As you know, eviction protection just expired midnight on Saturday, which puts millions of Americans, unfortunately, at risk of being forced from their homes. And it's actually estimated that over 15 million people in 6.5 million U.S. households are currently behind in rental payments. And that number is probably even bigger now. This was as of a few months ago, in fact. But here's the thing, if you're not sure how you're going to tackle this, perhaps you're not sure how you're going to make rent and you're really worried about this, right? Here's some tips that I want to share with you. First off, you'll want to be proactive. If you can't pay your rent, you take this opportunity to talk to your landlord. Hopefully, many of you have a someone that you can speak to who is in that form of landlord. I know many of you might rent from a larger corporation, but you want to make sure you have the discussion, let them know your concerns, maybe your struggles right now, and be very open and honest. Because you'd be surprised right now, a lot of people are much more empathetic and might give you some flexibility there. Now, another thing to remember, though, that even if you are behind, they can't just go ahead and evict you right on the spot. In fact, they are required to give you notice and also to make sure that everything is done properly before you're actually formally evicted. Now, another thing I would recommend is for you to keep very clear records. So if you can, email your landlord, make sure everything is in writing so you know what's happening, you update them, right? Keep really good records because in case this goes to a legal decision, then you have records of your communication with your landlord. You also want to know the laws of your state because, housing laws will certainly vary depending on which state, which city you're at. And in most cases, it's illegal for your landlord just to kick you out of your home for non-payment of rent. They have to go through a state's formal eviction proceedings. Now, this is also includes giving you notice that you're going to be evicted. So do know you have rights. Now, one site that I want to share with you and encourage you to check out is going to be justshelter.org. Okay, there's a lot of community resources. Also, reach out to your state or city, local offices, because a lot of times there's funds allocated to help people to stay at home. Now, the last thing I want to say is maybe even consider talking to a lawyer. This is really important. And you can actually get free help often if you contact a local tenants organization or legal aid society. There's relief organizations that are local, and you can search for a tenants organization in your area. Certainly, there's a lot of information, so check out that Just Shelter. I think you're going to really like that as well. Now, there's a lot of groups that can help you connect with a lawyer or another nonprofit legal group. Just go to your local office, do a Google search in your neighborhood. There's definitely going to be some options out there for you. But most importantly, good luck. Hopefully that was helpful. Now, let's also talk about the raging Delta variant of COVID. You probably heard enough of this. I certainly feel like I have. We're seeing that infections and hospitalizations continue to surge across the United States. And we're seeing the CDC saying that now we need to continue to wear masks indoors, even if we've been vaccinated. We're also concerned about potential lockdowns. Now, we do hear that, many of the healthcare professionals are saying that there will not be another lockdown, but who really knows? Who really knows, right? One thing that I think was a little surprising and probably quite a bit disappointing is, as you may have known or you may have seen, that in the state of Hawaii was actually doing very, very well. In fact, Hawaii COVID cases were at an enviable rate, tremendously lower than most parts of the United States. Well, unfortunately, that seemed to completely change because the House Committee on COVID met yesterday, and actually we learned that Hawaii has gone to near the bottom of the 23 mainland states here with high positivity rate. So this is as of research that came out of Johns Hopkins's coronavirus research. So what's triggering Hawaii to have increase of Delta cases, you might ask? Well, a lot of it's because of travel. So a lot of Hawaii residents actually travel during the summer to other parts of the country, as well as tourists coming in and getting together, family get-togethers and whatnot. Unfortunately, we're seeing cases continue to increase in Hawaii as well. So in fact, you've probably seen some of those pictures from this weekend from Lollapalooza and whatnot. Unfortunately, we want to get back to normal. And unfortunately, these cases continue to spread. This Delta virus, they didn't get the memo that we're done with this already, right? Well, here's what I want to share with you too. Let's talk about how you can shield your financial plan, okay? And really protect your financial planning from the Delta concerns, the Delta COVID concerns, right? Here's some tips that I want to share with you on what you can do currently to make sure that financially you're going to be okay. Well, number one thing I'd recommend is to make sure that you have your emergency fund. Now, we've talked about this before, but as an adult, you should have 6 months of living expenses in something liquid, maybe checking or a savings account, somewhere that you can get to very, very rapidly. I'd also recommend to save up, if you can, of course, up to 3 months or even a little bit more if you can for each child in your household. And if you got a kid like mine, my 12-year-old, who's like actually about to be taller than I am, you might want to save a little bit more. The other thing you want to do is keep a clear budget. This is really important. Now, we have a bunch of budget worksheets online, but you want to know exactly where each penny of your monies is going to. So that way you make sure that you don't overspend, and there's a lot of clarity on your money. Now, thank you so much, Vicky, for being here. So great to see you. Now, the other thing you want to do is, be very careful about making big purchases right now. I would hold off if you can. We're not talking about forever, hopefully, but at least for the next month, as we see Delta just plowing through the United States here, hold off on those big purchases just in case until we get through this time, right? Get through this wave. That way you have a full picture. And I think a little patience is really going to help you and your portfolio out right now. The other thing you want to do is to make sure to keep pandemic relief money safe if you can. Now, if you're receiving maybe the child tax credit or you still have monies from your previous stimulus checks, if you can, keep that safe. Keep it in your emergency fund. And if you already funded your emergency fund, look at other ways where you can still have liquidity and maybe some tax shelter, but save for yourself right now. I think is a really good idea. The one thing you should also do, and this is my next tip, is to refinance your mortgage. Now, If you still have income and your credit score is healthy, this is absolutely the time to do it. You may tell me, well, when I just refinanced a year ago, or I just refinanced 9 months ago, it still might make sense for you to take a look at, because we do know that rates have fallen yet again. And 30-year mortgages, in fact, are averaging in the 2% range, like 2.5 plus or minus. This is according to mortgage company Freddie Mac. So if your mortgage rate is higher than that, you might want to talk to your mortgage specialist and see about refinancing your mortgage and locking that lower rate. And if you're in a position where you still have income, I'd even consider, if you wanted to pay that house off more quickly, you could actually even add a little bit more to each payment, so you could decrease the duration of your mortgage. Really up to you. And I'd also suggest you talk to a tax professional if you decide to do that as well, because your tax professional, accountant, or CPA might have an opinion on whether or not to pay off your mortgage sooner. The other thing that I want to talk about, and this is really important, is the importance of not making panic decisions on your investment portfolio. Don't be too crazy, and not too crazy, but don't be too panicked to basically sell things or buy things too quickly in this type of market. There's a lot of volatility, a lot of unknown. And if you're not sure, seek out a financial advisor or a financial professional to really walk you through this time. I think it makes a lot of sense right now. Thank you, Vicky. So great to see. I see so many of you on different channels. Thanks so much for being here. The other thing I want to talk about, and this is a big one, is really trying to do your best in terms of reducing your spend and saving as much as you can. Here's some tips for you that I think if you want to do, you can actually tackle this week. Consider staggering your streaming services. Now, I know many of you have Netflix, maybe you have Disney Plus, maybe you have Hulu, maybe you have Peacock right now because of the Olympics, right? Many of you have more channels or more streaming providers than you really need full time. So consider staggering them. Maybe do Netflix for 2 months and then cancel, and then go to Peacock for 2 months and then cancel, and then go to, I don't know, Disney Plus, and stagger them so you're not paying each of them every single month. So you're only paying one per month. That actually is a great way to reduce your costs, because this could actually reduce your streaming payments by 50%, maybe even 75%, depending on how many that you have. The other thing that you've heard me talk about, but I think is really important to talk about now, is financially, curbside pickup, my friends, is your friend, especially when it comes to your groceries. So instead of, going to the grocery store, having to worry about wearing your mask and everything else, why not do your shopping online, make the decisions, see what's on sale. You can clip coupons even, and then simply drive up and pick up your groceries. And it saves a lot of time, but also it helps you save on impulse shopping, which we know that can often decrease your grocery bill by 25%, if not more. And we know many people are telling us now that right now during the pandemic, their grocery bill is actually one of their largest expenses. The other thing you want to do is, of course, try to limit your online shopping. And of course, be mindful, if there's something that you purchase, you have buyer's remorse, find a way to send it back and get your refund. Okay. So thank you so much, my friends, for watching and supporting our program. Please take a moment to share this show with someone that you care about. And as a reminder, you can find full episodes of Level Up with Winnie Sun on Amazon Fire, NASDAQ, and of course, the one and only Roku as well. So thank you so much, my friends. I hope that you stay well, and I can't wait to see you again this week. Take care now.